Hi, friends, and welcome back to Loud and Proud L3Q, the story that we give the instructions to the AI, and then it does the writing. It's an experiment I'm attempting to see what happens. Today we're doing Book 3, or Part 3, of the adventures of Timothy and Adam. Hope you enjoy. Chapter 1. The backyard smelled faintly of lilies and old wood, the late afternoon sunlight spilling through the dark green leaves. The cloudy sky threatened rain. My notebook sat closed in my lap, hoodie traded for a pressed white satin shirt with flowing sleeves that didn't quite feel like mine. "Thanks, Mr. Talbot," I said, as the older man wiped imaginary lint off my shoulder. "It's Dad now. I'm not only your father-in-law, son, but—" "I know, Dad. It's just—" Words fumbled in my throat. "Don't worry about it. Pre-wedding jitters. Been there and survived. You will too. Just know we love you." We hugged, and he went to check on seating. Our services were in the Talbots' backyard. A 3-tier white strawberry cake with white frosting roses sat on a nearby table. About 30 chairs had been lined up, already filled with members of Timothy's family and our friends. We didn't have the usual groomsmen, but kept it simple. A close friend was our best man and carried the rings. Timothy stood at the front, dressed like me. His sister, Talia, teased him about crooked collars as she attempted to straighten it. His mom fussed with the flowers. His dad checked the seating chart. Humphreys the cat prowled underfoot, like it was his name on the property deed. I sat in the second row, heart steady but loud, watching the family move like a rhythm I'd been folded into. My phone trilled once in my pocket. I muted it without checking the incoming text. Not today. I had other priorities. The air hummed, the speakers activated, the keyboard warmed up. Timothy's voice carried across the room. "Where's the judge?" "Here," the woman said, walking in. "Forgive me, but I had to see what smelled so good in the kitchen." My husband-to-be looked at me and mouthed, "I love you." The warmth pressed in beside me. It was time. I clenched my hands, fighting the nerves, and suddenly grinning from horizon to horizon, and rose. I'd left the notebook on the chair, but the choice was written in my heart. The sky had blushed in our honor. Timothy smiled as much as I did. Chapter 2. Everybody wanted pictures. The air smelled of lilies and cake. Sunset slanted through the leaves. Tiny candles and little white lights made the backyard sparkle. Timothy's mom, moved like a conductor, adjusting flowers, fussing with trays, her voice warm even when sharp. I stood near the doorway, shirt collar stiff against my neck. The hum of voices filled the space. Laughter, teasing, footsteps trampling lawn. Somebody popped a champagne cork. It was messy, alive. Timothy's dad appeared, steady as ever, pressing a glass into my hand. "You're nervous," he said, not unkindly. His grip was firm, grounding. Before I could answer, Timothy's mom turned, eyes bright. She looked at me as if I'd always been here, as if I belonged in this house, with its mismatched chairs and prowling cat. "Family isn't about blood," she said, adjusting a vase. A red rose refused to line up with the others. She neatened it, but left the imperfection. "It's about who shows up, who stays." The words landed heavy. My chest tightened, not from nerves, but from memory. The lifeless house I grew up in, everything in its place, silence louder than any song. No cats, no paw prints, no mess, just rules, just perfection. Talia said, "Billie Eilish's middle name is Pirate." Humphreys slipped between my legs, tail flicking, unimpressed. I bent down, scratching behind his ears, and he leaned into me like he'd known me forever. I laughed, awkward, caught between Timothy's parents' warmth and the echo of my own. Talia slouched against an ivy-strewn wall, phone in hand, muttering, "Billie Eilish was a cat in a past life." The yard cracked with humor, tension dissolving. Timothy's mom looped her arm through mine, guiding me towards the kitchen. "Come on," she said, "you're family now." "It doesn't feel real," I said. The tea kettle hummed in the other room, the hum shrill, the voices, the laughter, the cat weaving through legs, the warmth pressed in beside me. I went to my future husband. He smiled and kissed me. Talia took pictures. Chapter 3. The backyard was alive in a way I wasn't used to. Voices overlapped, footsteps thudded against the back porch, and the smell of cinnamon and lilies and cake clung to the air. Timothy's mom darted from table to table, chair to chair, adjusting flowers, fussing with trays, her energy filling every corner. I stood near the white cake, collar stiff against my neck. The pressed shirt felt borrowed, like I was playing dress-up in someone else's life. My stomach twisted, not from hunger, but from nerves. Timothy's dad appeared, steady as ever, pressing a glass into my hand. "You'll be fine," he said, simple as breath. His grip was firm, grounding. Humphreys prowled between ankles, tail flicking, unimpressed by the chaos. He paused at my feet, eyes sharp, then moved on, as if testing whether I belonged here. Talia still slouched against the wall, thumbs flying across her phone. She now wore a short black veil. "Billie Eilish is basically an Egyptian Mao, but without the spots," she muttered, rolling her eyes. The comment cracked the tension, and I laughed, awkward but grateful. "Why the veil?" I asked, praying the nerves didn't show in my voice. She shrugged. "It's a wedding. Somebody has to wear one." Still, the jitters clung. My parents' voices echoed in memory, everything in its place, no cats, no mess. Their house had been lifeless, sterile. This house was the opposite, mismatched chairs, laughter spilling into every room, paw prints on the floor. Timothy brushed past me, adjusting his collar, his smile quick and steady. "Almost time," he said, and my heart lurched. I wanted to believe I belonged here, wanted to believe the warmth pressing in around me was mine to keep. But the notebook remained on the chair, heavy with questions I hadn't written down. I didn't deserve this. I didn't deserve a family loving me. I didn't deserve a man at my side. I didn't deserve any of this. Yet here I am. The tear dripped from my eye. The heat flushed my face. I don't deserve this. Talia took my arm. She was going to walk me down the aisle. "Don't go avocado. Repeat after Billie Eilish. I've always done whatever I want, and always been exactly who I am. Who gives an F about anything else?" The cat hissed. The hum was joyful. Music started. The laughter quieted. The cat wove through legs. The warmth pressed in beside me. I took a breath, steadying myself. The ceremony hadn't begun yet. But the choice was already waiting. And he was beautiful. Chapter 4. The room hushed. Voices folding into silence as Timothy and I stepped forward. My palms were damp, the pressed shirt tight across my shoulders, but Timothy's hand found mine, steady, grounding. God, he looked so good. The officiant's words blurred, a rhythm I barely heard. What I felt was the weight of the moment, the hum of the keyboard, the sunset light fractured through the leaves, the warmth of Timothy's family gathered close. "Do you take this man, Adam Sullivan, to be your lawful wedded husband?" Timothy's eyes locked on mine, quick smile flashing. "I do." The words struck like breath, simple, certain. "And do you take this man, Timothy Talbot, as your lawful wedded husband?" My throat tightened, but the answer rose clear. "I do." The officiant smiled. I now pronounce you Timothy and Adam Talbot. May you be joined in love till death do you part. Gentlemen, you may kiss your husband. I kissed my new husband, heart pounding, realizing this wasn't about my old family. It was about building a new one. The sterile house I grew up in, lifeless and silent, had no place here. This was different. This was chosen. This was messy. Timothy's mom dabbed her eyes, and his dad clapped me on the shoulder, steady as ever. Talia muttered, "Billie Eilish wears black to weddings." And Humphreys prowled between ankles, unimpressed, but present, as if to remind us that mess was part of belonging. For a moment, the tension cracked, laughter spilling into the air. I felt it then. The shift. Timothy's family had chosen me, just as I had chosen them. The vows weren't only about us. They were about the circle we stood inside, the warmth pressing in, the hum of voices that said, "You're home." My phone vibrated once in my pocket. I didn't reach for it, not today. I had better priorities. The ceremony was over. The hum was fading. The music playing the classic wedding march. Timothy's hand was in mine. The cat wove through legs. The warmth pressed in beside me. I was Adam Talbot now. Chapter 5. The vows were spoken, the kiss sealed, and the room erupted in applause. Timothy's hand was warm in mine, steady, grounding. But as the laughter swelled, as shadow pressed in, my chest tightened, not from nerves, but from memory. The lifeless house I grew up in, everything in its place, silence louder than any song. My parents' voices echoed, no cats, no mess. No. I glanced at the notebook sitting abandoned in the chair, still blank, heavy with questions. Could I really belong here? Could I trust this warmth to last? Humphreys prowled between ankles, tail flicking, unimpressed. Timothy's mom dabbed her eyes. His dad clapped me on the shoulder. Talia muttered, "Billie Eilish is allergic to humans." The room cracked with humor, tension dissolving. Still, the doubt lingered. My phone vibrated once in my pocket. Was it them? Were they watching, waiting to remind me that I didn't belong? I'd blocked them years ago. They had said, "You can come home when you choose to be straight." Yet they still kept calling, still kept saying the same message. Timothy squeezed my hand, smile flashing. "Ignore it," he whispered. "You're with me." I wanted to believe him. I wanted to believe the theme Timothy's mom had spoken. Family isn't about blood. It's about who shows up. But the old voices were loud, the sterile house still echoing. The keyboard played a Billie Eilish tune now. The laughter pressed in. The cat wove through legs. I stood at the edge of choice, caught between the family I was born into and the one I was building. Why did I even think about my parents? Their love was conditional. Chapter 6. The ceremony was over, the vows spoken, the kiss sealed. Applause still echoed in my ears, but the silence inside me was louder. My phone vibrated again in my pocket, a reminder of the world I'd left behind. I didn't reach for it. Timothy's hand was steady in mine, pulling me toward the doorway, toward the kitchen that smelled of cinnamon and lilies, toward the laughter spilling out of mismatched rooms. I hesitated at the threshold. The notebook still sat in the chair, heavy with questions. Could I really belong here? Could I trust this warmth to last? Humphreys prowled past, tail flicking, unimpressed. He slipped inside without hesitation, as if to say the choice was obvious. Timothy's mom appeared, looping her arm through mine. "Come on," she said, voice warm, certain. "You're family now." The words landed like a key turning in a lock. I stepped forward, past the doorway, into the hum of voices and the clatter of plates. Talia muttered, "Billie Eilish likes mashed potatoes," and the room cracked with laughter. Timothy's dad clapped me on the shoulder, firm, grounding. The sterile house of my childhood echoed in memory, everything in its place, silence louder than any song. No cats, no paw prints, no mess. Just rules. This house was the opposite, messy, alive, imperfect. Paw prints on the floor, laughter spilling into corners, warmth pressing in from every side. I crossed the threshold and the choice was written. "No, you don't," Timothy said, laughing. He pulled me back outside and lifted me in his arms and carried me across the threshold and into the kitchen. The voices, the laughter, the cat weaving through legs, Timothy's hand steady in mine. Home. The notebook remained in the chair outside. I sat down by the counter, somehow feeling lighter. Chapter 7. The house was alive in a way that felt possible to contain. Music spilled from Talia's phone, Billie Eilish bleeding into laughter, and the living room became a dance floor, carpet worn soft by years of family. Timothy tugged me forward, his hand steady in mine. I stumbled at first, awkward in the pressed shirt, but the rhythm caught me. His mom clapped along, his dad spun her in the corner, and Humphreys prowled between ankles, tail flicking, unimpressed, but present. The table groaned under mismatched plates, cake, casseroles, cider glasses refilled without pause. Timothy shoved a forkful of frosting and cake into my hand, rolling his eyes. "Eat, it's tradition." I did likewise, accidentally on purpose, smearing frosting on his nose. I laughed, awkward but real. The sweetness tasted of strawberries and melted on my tongue, and for a moment the sterile house of my childhood, the silence, the rules, the rejection, faded. Timothy's dad clapped me on the shoulder, firm, grounding. "You're one of us now," he said, simple as breath. Humphreys claimed a crumb of cake dropped to the floor, licking it like a king. The room cracked with humor, voices rising, laughter, spilling into corners. I danced, clumsy at first, then freer. Timothy spun me. Talia teased. His mom kissed my cheek, and the warmth pressed in from every side. And a thought struck. Today is the first day of Adam Talbot's life. The music, the laughter, the cat weaving through legs, the joy of chosen family, everyone celebrating the coming out of Adam and Timothy Talbot, of me, of my husband. My phone vibrated for the 50th time in my pocket. I didn't reach for it. Not today. The notebook stayed in the chair outside, a burden I let go. The choice was written in the rhythm of the room, in the paw prints on the floor, in the arms that pulled me closer, in the gentle kiss of my husband. Family wasn't about blood. It was about who showed up, and tonight they had, in dozens. Timothy had a lot of aunts, uncles, cousins, nieces, and nephews. Now I do too. Chapter 8. The reception hummed with laughter, music spilling from Talia's phone as Billie Eilish crooned about monsters under the bed. Timothy's parents danced in the corner. Humphreys prowled for crumbs, and I hovered near the kitchen doorway, wondering if I could grab another piece of cake. Talia slouched against the banister, thumbs flying across her screen. She barely looked up when I approached, her hair falling into her eyes. "You're officially my brother now," she muttered, rolling her eyes, "which means I get to roast you forever." I laughed, awkward but real. "Guess that's fair." She smirked, finally meeting my gaze. "Billie Eilish is a vegan, you know that, right?" Humphreys brushed past us, tail flicking, unimpressed. Talia bent down, scratching his ears, then glanced at me. "Mom says family isn't about blood. She's right. But it's also about surviving my commentary." Her words cracked the tension, playful but sharp. But for the first time, I felt the shift, not just Timothy's parents claiming me, but his sister, too. My phone vibrated in my pocket. I didn't reach for it. Not today. Whoever it is, they are persistent. Talia shoved a plate with a big piece of strawberry cake into my hand, frosting smeared across the edge. "Eat. You look like you've got low blood sugar, and if you don't, Humphreys will." I laughed again, The sound lighter this time. The sterile house of my childhood echoed in memory, everything in its place, silence louder than any song. No cats, no paw prints, no siblings teasing me into belonging. This was different. This was chosen. Talia rolled her eyes, but her smile lingered. You're family now. Don't forget it. The chaos resumed. The music, the laughter, the cat weaving through legs, Timothy's sister pulling me into the circle. The notebook stayed on the chair, outside. I had my husband to hold on to instead. Chapter 9. The reception was in full swing, music spilling from Talia's phone, laughter bouncing off the walls, Humphreys prowling like he owned the house. Timothy spun me across the carpet, clumsy but steady, and for a moment I forgot the weight of my past. Then the phone buzzed again, insistent. Annoyed, I pulled it from my pocket, thumb hovering. The screen lit up, a number I didn't recognize. My stomach dropped. The outside door opened. A soft breeze blew in, carrying the scent of my biological mom's perfume. I glanced toward the doorway, and there they were, my parents, standing stiff at the edge of the room. Mom's eyes narrowed at the paw prints on the floor. Dad's jaw tightened, obsessive even here. Humphreys brushed past them, tail flicking, and Mom sneezed, muttering something sharp under her breath. The sterile house of my childhood echoed in memory, everything in its place, silence louder than any song, no cats, no mess, no laughter, just rules. Timothy's dad noticed them first. He crossed the room, firm handshake extended. Welcome, he said, simple as breath. I'm sorry, I don't know you. Are you here to celebrate Timothy and Adam's wedding? Wedding? Dad said. We're too late. My stomach swallowed a brick. That's my parents. I stiffened. Timothy's mom looped her arm through mine, pulling me closer. You're family now, she whispered, voice steady. Talia rolled her eyes, muttering, Billie Eilish is allergic to billionaires. And the room cracked with humor. But my parents didn't laugh. They stood apart, uncomfortable, allergic not just to the cat, but to the chaos, the warmth, the belonging. Timothy squeezed my hand, the one with the ring on it, smile flashing. Don't panic, he whispered. You've got family. For the first time, I felt the shift. Family wasn't about blood. It was about who showed up. And tonight, my parents, after years, had. Chapter 10. They stood near the doorway, stiff as statues. Mom's eyes narrowed at the paw prints on the floor. Dad's jaw tight, obsessive even here. Humphreys brushed past them, tail flicking, and Mom sneezed, again, muttering sharp words under her breath. The sterile house of my childhood echoed in memory, everything in its place, silence louder than any song. No cats, no paw prints, no mess, just rules. But my parents didn't move. They stood apart, uncomfortable, allergic not just to the cat, but to the chaos, the warmth, the belonging. Talia rolled her eyes, muttering, Billie Eilish is allergic to meat. And the room cracked with humor, but the laughter didn't reach them. My throat tightened. Timothy kissed me, on the cheek, something casual, something sweet. Mom saw, and cringed. Softly, my new husband whispered, How do you want to handle this? Sick Talia on them? The monster under the bed is terrified of Billie Eilish, Talia muttered. You want my veil? The atmosphere had changed, becoming charged and heavy. The music, the laughter, the cat weaving through legs. Still, my parents had showed up. And for a moment, I feared they might win. Mom let out a loud sneeze, followed quickly by a second. The reception was alive, music spilling from Talia's phone, laughter bouncing off the walls, Humphreys prowling like he owned the house. Timothy spun me across the carpet, clumsy but steady. The phone vibrated again. A text lit the screen. We need to talk. Another followed. Step outside. Mom sneezed and fled outside. Dad followed. My chest tightened. They weren't coming in, but they wouldn't stop pressing. The sterile house of my childhood echoed in memory. Everything in its place. Silence louder than any song. No cats. No paw prints. No mess. Just rules. But my phone buzzed again. Another text. Adam Sullivan, you will answer us. We are your parents. Talia rolled her eyes, muttering, Billie Eilish hates haters. But the room didn't crack with humor, and nobody laughed. I stared at the screen, at the names that had defined so much of my silence. My throat tightened. Timothy squeezed my hand, smile flashing. Ignore it, he whispered. You're with me. The pulse was different. The music, the laughter, the cat weaving through legs, Timothy's family closing ranks around me. Let's end this, love, I said. Stand beside me? Always, he whispered, kissing my temple. Together, we walked outside. Chapter 11. The night air was colder than I expected. The joy of music and laughter dimmed behind us as Timothy and I stepped outside, the doorway closing like a curtain. My parents stood stiff in the yard, shadows against the porch light. Mom's eyes narrowed, jaw tight. Dad's voice was flat, rehearsed. We didn't shun you out of hate, he said. It was tough love. We couldn't handle the trauma of a gay son. We thought distance would make you come to your senses. The words struck like ice. Tough love. Trauma. Mom's perfume clung to the air, sharp and sterile. And now you've moved on, she said, voice brittle. Married, left us in the dust. You don't even love us anymore. The sterile house of my childhood echoed in memory. Everything in its place, silence louder than any song. No cats, no paw prints, no laughter, just rules. Timothy's hand tightened around mine, grounding, but my chest hollowed. Their words weren't apology, they were justification. You abandoned us, Dad said. You chose this. You chose him. You chose chaos. Humphreys prowled past, tail flicking, unimpressed. He brushed against my leg, then disappeared back inside, as if to remind me where I belonged. I wanted to speak, but my throat locked. My hand gripped Timothy's. Tight. Timothy whispered, You don't owe them anything. But the ache was sharp. This was my blood, my history, my silence, and now their confession was worse than rejection. It was proof they would never change. Somewhere Humphreys hissed, but here love and warmth was gone. Just cold air, sharp perfume, and voices that said I was a mistake. For the first time, I believed it. For the first time, I felt the weight of all is lost. Why did you come? I asked. To stop this insane phase you're going through and make you see reason, Dad yelled. We still love you. I lowered my head, tears burning. Timothy's arm wrapped around me, but the night pressed heavy. Inside, laughter rose, muffled but distant. Outside, my parents stood apart, statues carved from rules and silence, and I was caught between them, the choice written but unread. Chapter 12. The night air pressed heavy, colder than the laughter spilling from the house behind us. My parents stood stiff in the yard, shadows carved from rules and silence. Dad's voice was sharp, rehearsed. We are your family. How can you choose this chaos over us? We love you. We'll see you get the help you need. Mom's eyes narrowed, perfume clinging like judgment. You don't belong here. You belong with us. We can fix you. The sterile house of my childhood echoed in memory, everything in its place, silence louder than any song, no cats, no paw prints, no mess, just rules. My throat tightened. For a moment I felt the weight of their words, the pull of guilt, the ache of being their son. Then, like a spark, Talia's voice rose in memory. I've always done whatever I want, and always been exactly who I am. Who gives an F about anything else? The line cut through the night, sharp and certain. I breathed, steadying. I was enough. Timothy's hand tightened around mine, grounding. He leaned close, whispering, You're the perfect man for me. The words landed like a key turning in a lock. The sterile house faded. The perfection faded. Inside, the house was different. Not just the music, the laughter, not just the cat weaving through the legs, the warmth pressing in from every side, but inside me as well. I didn't think about the sterile house. I didn't think about all the rules. I didn't think about the perfection, the demands, the compromises. I thought about my husband, about my new family, about the love and the acceptance. I lifted my head, meeting my parents' eyes. You don't get to define me anymore. I've chosen my family, my husband. I've chosen my life. And I'm not ashamed. Mom sneezed, muttering sharp words under her breath. Dad's jaw tightened, obsessive even here. But their voices no longer held me. Everybody will think we're bad parents, Mom wailed. What will we tell everyone? Dad asked. Simple, I said. You were too perfect for me, so I found a family who loved me just as I am. Timothy kissed my temple, steady, certain. Together, we turned back toward the doorway, toward the unconditional acceptance of chosen family waiting inside. I'm glad I left the notebook on the chair. That was the old me. For the first time, I believed I wrote the choice. And I chose my husband. Chapter 13. The doorway swung open, and the love radiating from the reception rushed back in. Music spilling from Talia's phone, laughter bouncing off the walls, Humphreys prowling like he owned the house. He probably did. The warmth pressed in from every side, messy and alive. Timothy tugged me forward, his hand steady in mine. My parents' voices faded behind us, swallowed by the rhythm of the room. Inside, the family I had chosen waited, smiling, teasing, clapping, filling every corner with noise and love. Talia shoved another plate of cake into my hand, frosting smeared across the edge. Eat, she said, rolling her eyes. It's got eggs in it, so Billie Eilish won't touch it. I laughed, awkward but real, smearing frosting on Timothy's nose just to hear him groan. His mom kissed my cheek. His dad clapped me on the shoulder. Cousins and aunts and uncles pulled me into the circle. The sterile house of my childhood no longer echoed in my memory. Everything in its place, silence louder than any song. It drifted away. Instead, it was replaced by cats and paw prints and mess and chaos. Here, life was different, warm, chaotic, alive. The music, the laughter, the cat weaving through legs, the paw prints marking the floor like signatures of belonging. Timothy leaned close, whispering, "You're the perfect man for me." The words landed like a key turning in a lock. The choice was written in the rhythm of the room, in the arms that pulled me close, in the laughter that spilled into corners. I danced. Clumsy at first, then freer. Timothy spun me. Talia teased. His mom clapped along. His dad lifted her in the corner, and Humphreys claimed crumbs like a king. The rhythm had changed, the music, the laughter, the warmth pressing in from every side. Timothy hugged me from behind, whispering into my ear, "You're Adam Talbot now. Welcome home, love." Epilogue. 2 weeks later, Timothy and I had returned from our honeymoon to the beaches around Miami. A letter waited. It was a congratulations card from my parents. The end. Thank you, everybody, for joining me and Copilot with this. If you'd like stories that were completely written by a human, me, please see my channel, Geo 1968. I love you all, my friends. Peace.